Two.
Hey guys, this is Cory from the South Mountain YMCA camps, and welcome to sailing day 2 from the online camping at home. And today we're going to go over wind and basic sailing maneuvers. So the things that we want to talk about today are wind, and there's two types of wind when we're in sailing. There is true wind and apparent wind. True wind is the direction that the wind is actually blowing, and apparent wind is when you're in the boat, sort of like you feel if you're in the car, going out the window, sticking your hand out, you feel that wind going against your hand. So that's the boat is moving and you're feeling that wind. So you want to make sure that you are going by the true wind and not getting fooled by the apparent wind. So today you can see that there's a little bit of wind going out, and if I kind of lick my finger and put it up, I can sort of tell that the wind is coming right from that direction, okay? And the way that I can also tell this on my sailboat is that my sail is pretty much facing in that direction. And what's happening is that the wind is moving right across my sail. And you can see it's a little bit full here, and it goes in and out. All right. Now, when you have your sail, okay, we're going to use a series of different angles and trimming. Trimming is when you take the sheeting that we learned from last video, and you pull the sail in, and that changes the angle. Pulling the sail in, letting the sail out, it changes the angle. Because when we sail, we're using science, and the science behind this is lift. It's the same science that we use for an airplane. So if you think about the wing of an airplane, okay? So this piece of paper here is the wing of an airplane. We are, the air is moving over the wing of the plane, so it's hitting it this way. And what's ended up happening is that the shape of it, which is a curved shape, you end up having wind moving across, and there is less pressure on the bottom. Less pressure on the top and more pressure on the bottom. And when that does, that creates lift. Okay, so you're basically having a void of pressure of wind at the top, and that will make the airplane lift up in the air. And that's essentially what we do with the sail. So if we take a look at the sail, if the wind is going, and if we want to take a look, so you look down the sail here. So we take a look at our mast, okay? And if we have the wind moving directly over our sail, okay, what will end up happening is we can move this over a little bit. Okay, and what's happening, we see that the sail, the shape fills up. So there is a void of air back here and a pressure here, and that's putting pressure on this. And the pressure goes from the sail to the mast, and that's what propels the boat forward. You can sort of see that same technology if you take a piece of paper, okay, and you get rid of the air on top and increase the pressure down here. You see how that works. It's a little bit windy. Let's try it again. So you can see how that decrease of pressure makes that paper go up. All right, and that's the science that we're going to work today. And ideally on a sailboat, you want to create the ideal. You can have a bunch of different angles and still get this effect. You want to create a. You want the sail to be with the wind, okay, and the ideal angle from your sail to your boat is about 30 degrees. So if we had it here, if we have the boom right here, right down the center line of the boat, that's a 0 degree. That's about 10 degrees. That's about 30. And all the way out here, that's a 90 degrees. So that's perpendicular to the boat. So this angle works really well if you're at a run, if the wind's at your back. Or pretty much any other thing, you want to try to have that 30 degrees. That's your optimal. Now, what we're also going to talk about is where you want to go. So if the wind is blowing this direction, okay, and our optimal 30 degree is either that way or that way, okay, but we want to go over that way, there's a few things that we can do. We can either do what's called tacking back and forth, doing a zigzag to where you want to go so you stay with the wind, or you have less than optimal sail angles. So that's either letting the sail out or pulling the sail way in to keep that angle. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop on the boat and we're going to show you how this all works. And we're going to put it together for you. Hey everyone, it's Cory here. So we just saw a little bit of how everything works on a sailboat, and we have this diagram up here. So looking at this diagram, we're talking about the wind angles and the where our sail is according to that wind. If you look at the top of the diagram here, there is the no-go zone. So if your boat is pointed anywhere in the no-go zone, what's going to happen is your sail is going to luff. And what luffing means is that you're just the sail is just going to blow around. It's going to flap back and forth, and you're not going to go anywhere. Our close reach, okay, close reach, and that's also on the starboard side, on the right hand side. Let me just pause that real quick, and we'll go back. 1 second. Here. Again, so we have all these different angles. It goes around like a clock. So at the top we have, if your boat is pointed up towards the no-go zone, you're not going to go anywhere. The dead run, which is the wind at your back, which you're going to see an example in just a little bit, that's where your sail is pretty much at a 90-degree angle, like we just showed you when the sailboat was on the shore. This diagram references what's called a spin acre. So a spin acre is basically a big giant parachute at the front of your boat, and it's only good if the wind is at your back. Now our boat does have a jib, and the jib sort of helps that science work by increasing those forces. So you're making it's increasing the void on the sail in the back, and increasing the pressure to propel the sailboat forward. So our boat that we're using in this video does have a jib. We do not have a spin acre. But as you can see, we have our beam reach. That's our 30-degree angle. So the beam reach and the broad reach is our optimal. That's where our 30 degrees is. Close reach and close haul, that's where you're very close to the wind zone, and you want to be able to, you have to pull the sail in really tight. And what ends up happening when you have the sail pulled in really tight like that, you get a little bit more turbulence. So your ride's going to be a little bit rougher. The boat's going to want to push, it's going to want to hike. Hike is when it leans over, and you'll see an example of that in the video. But that's essentially when you're at 0 degrees, so that you're really on the cusp of that wind. So that's not your ideal angle. So where we want to be is beam reaches and broad reaches, either port or starboard. Okay. So let's take a look at the video. We're going to get going sailing here, and the first thing that I want to take a look at here. Let's go back here just a little bit. First thing I want to take it back. I'm steering the boat. We didn't go over this the last time, but when we steer the boat, you can see that I'm pushing the tiller to the right and the left. If I push the tiller to the right-hand side, the boat's going to go left. If I push it to the left-hand side, the boat's going to go right. So it's sort of opposites than what you would do. So right here, we're at what's called pretty much a beam reach. So the wind is really hitting us at a 90-degree angle. The sail is full. The jib is full. You can see everything's full, and we're cruising. And the boat is not tipping. It's a very stable, very smooth ride. And as we go in further, I have the sail's maybe a little bit less than 30, so maybe not super ideal. But as you can see, it's pretty smooth. The boat's fairly level in the water, and I'm just maintaining those lines and steering, just trying to keep that line. So sometimes the boat will kind of want to go from one side to the other, and you just have to keep correcting that with the tiller. So we're going to fast forward here just a little bit, and we're going to look at just some adjustments here. So now I sort of changed the direction a little bit, so I'm letting a little bit of sail out, and now the wind is at our back,
and I've actually let it all the way go out to a 90 degrees. So going back to our diagram, we're at a dead run. Now we don't have a spinnaker. You can see the jib isn't really doing too much because the wind's at our back. So we're at a full run. Sail's at 90-degree angle, and we're maintaining that. Now you can see the boat is still cruising pretty hard. And again, at a full run, we're not really hiking that much. The boat isn't leaning over, okay? So this is going to be at a run for a little bit. So we're going to fast forward here. All right. And here is where we're going to have a come about. So the come about, it's a little shaky here, but essentially what we're doing is we're going, or on the diagram, it's going to be called tacking. So port tack to starboard tack. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing the tiller towards the sail and letting some sail out. And then when that happens, the boat turns and it will switch directions. So we're going to see that in just a little bit here. Okay. Now we're going to start to turn, let the sail out. Now the sail goes overhead. When it picks up back the wind back up, I can pull in the sail a little bit. You can see the luffing. So the luffing means that sail is going right into the wind and it's not getting any pressure. Now we've caught the wind again, and now we're back to a beam reach. So we're just adjusting the jib a little bit. The jib line came out. But now we have that. So the next maneuver that we're going to do is called a jibe. A jibe is where you go from a starboard to port tack. The boom swings right across from the port to starboard beam, and that's pretty quick. So let's go back just a little bit. So this is what's going to happen. Now notice I'm pulling the sail in really tight. So this is good if you don't want to lose your wind and you don't want the sail to rip around. So I'm going to let it go a little bit, picking up some speed, and I'm pulling nice and tight, and you can see the point here where it goes over. I switch sides to balance it out, and now I can keep going. So that's a very fast turn. The come about, where you go from, or come about or tack, when you go from port to starboard tack, that one is a little bit slower, but the jibe is pretty quick. Okay. So those are our basic ports here, and we're going to kind of switch and give you a little bit of point of view, what it looks like being the captain of the boat. And here, before we get into that, so now we are at a more of a reach, and now you can see the angle. The boat's going to start to hike. So hiking is what happens is, if you look to my right, okay, that's the side that the sail is on. Now, when you get that turbulent air and you get that pressure going against the sail, that's pushing the mast like a lever, and the boat's going to want to tip over. And the only thing you can really do to counter that is to lean the opposite direction. So you can sort of see Tony's sort of on the side of the boat, and we are now hiking because we are very close to the no wind zone, and we have that sail pulled in super tight. All right, so it's almost over the boat, parallel with the boat. And here's kind of a point of view switch. We're going to get another view of a pretty decent hike coming through. So we are on Blue Marsh Lake. One of the things about Blue Marsh Lake is the wind is sort of finicky. On the right-hand side of this, on the starboard side, we have an island, and that sometimes makes the wind kind of finicky. And so you'll be cruising along, really good wind, and then the wind will give out on you, or there'll be no wind, and all of a sudden a giant gust will come up and try to blow you over. But yeah. So here we go. We're in the close reach or close hold position. This is a reach with we're on the port or the port side, the left side. And let's go over more. We'll get a little bit more hiking here in the video. There's a view from the back. All right, so this is a pretty good. So we're in the reach and hold section, the close reach and close hold This is actually a close hauled position, and now you can see that the boat is going to start tipping. So this is a prime example of hiking. So we've got a lot of force pushing that sail over, and you can see how much we're leaning here. So that's called hiking. Some boats have what's called a hiking strap. It's a really cool feeling when you can feel the boat starting to tip over, and you kind of have to counterbalance it. And what's happening here is we're coming around the island, so we're losing a little bit of that wind pressure. So we're getting gusts. So we're hiking, then we're not hiking. We're hiking, and we're not hiking. But it's probably the coolest feeling in sailing when you start to feel your boat sort of tip over. It can be kind of scary, but if you can lean and counterbalance that, it's pretty fun. Pretty fun. So this is the basics of sailing. I might do another video on maybe some more advanced sailing techniques and things like that, and finding your way in navigation. But just to recap today, we talked about the physics of lift on a sailboat, and how we have a sort of a wing, and when our air moves over, okay, the curved shape of the wing or the sail, you get an increased pressure on the inside and a decreased pressure on the outside, and that will make lift. And then the other things we talked on our diagrams here about our different wind positions and how the boat works. And when we have different angles, we can either steer our boat in different angles using the tiller, or we can trim the sails in and out to change our direction and make an optimal angle for the most amount of lift in our sail and the most amount of propulsion. So, my name's Cory, and you've been watching Online Camping of the South Mountain YMCA Camps, Sailing Part 2. We'll have plenty of other videos on other things on our YouTube channel. So don't forget to subscribe, and consider donating to our emergency response fund, and you'll find the link for that in the description. Thanks so much. Have a great day.